Who's happy? Now, who's Rotary happy? We're here together in this beautiful place, inspiring, connecting. That's Rotary happy. I'm Rotary happy when I'm planting trees on a watershed reclamation project, when I'm participating in an international project, when I'm laughing over coffee at my Rotary Club meeting. I'm Rotary happy when my children and my husband, also a Rotarian, join me for a roadside litter cleanup project. I'm Rotary happy a lot. But I wasn't always so. In fact, I lost my Rotary happy for a while, and it was a long, complicated journey to get it back. I joined Rotary in 2013, and I eagerly became a member of an energetic morning club. There were neat traditions and no shortage of inspiration. I was happy. I got more and more involved, more invested. I was, without a doubt, Rotary happy. But what would transpire over the next 3 years took away that feeling. It happened subtly at first, small, disparaging, but humorous remarks, unwritten rules about where to sit and who's in charge of this or that activity, men who seemed to make all the decisions, even though a woman held the gavel, little jokes about someone's return after a few weeks' hiatus. Look who's back, finally. Well, hey, stranger, haven't seen you in weeks. Over time, I understood what I had been observing was actually more serious. Those seemingly harmless jokes were actually tied to feelings of bitterness, and they escalated to comments about which members were most valuable to the club, who put in the most work, who gave the most money, and who carried the most influence in our community. There was an undercurrent of sexism that was obvious to just about anyone. But no one seemed too interested in doing anything about it. There were inappropriate comments about the appearance of various women in the club. I became very aware of how I dressed on meeting days, dreading a snide remark that would be shined up as a compliment. I found myself getting pulled into email threads about other members. It was numbing. In fact, it made me wonder if there were email threads circulating about me, analyzing something I had said or the way I had looked. And I would soon learn that speaking up made me a target. I became accustomed to an eerie feeling every week when I drove to my Rotary meeting. And trust me, I rarely skipped because I had become so anxious about what would be said in my absence. People who loved me, like my husband, would ask, why I didn't just quit Rotary? Well, I wondered that myself sometimes too. The answer is simple. I believed in Rotary. I knew that Rotary was something special. I believed in the work. By that time, I'd gotten involved in district projects like the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, and I built friendships around the district. But also, there were some really good people in my Rotary Club. The behavior of a small group was the catalyst of much of what was happening. It was a small group that made me feel disenfranchised, that made me feel like I wasn't measuring up, that made me feel unsafe. I wasn't alone. Many members were leaving, especially women. Now, eventually, our district became involved, probably too late, and I remember that meeting well, that meeting where I was told there was no way to make these problematic members leave the club. They simply had too much influence. I said that I would not be back, and I left, and I was not alone. That was March 2016. Exactly 1 week later, I was chatting with a couple of other women who had also left the club. We were sad, felt let down, powerless. We decided to meet during the time that our Rotary Club typically met. And we gathered for coffee in the little back room of a coffee shop in our town, just a few of us. And we didn't solve any problems. We didn't talk about the future. We reassured and we supported each other. We were starting to feel better. So we decided to carry on our new little tradition, and we agreed to meet the following week. Same time, same place. 1 week later, we met up again, but an unexpected thing happened. We were joined by 2 more former members. Again, a week later, a few more joined. And by the end of the month, more than a dozen people were meeting for coffee in that little back room. Now, our informal group continued to grow over the coming months. We planned small service projects. We acted like a Rotary Club. We sounded like a Rotary Club. And we certainly cared like a Rotary Club. It was time to make it official. We discussed all kinds of club models and names, settling on a model that included weekly meetings and standard membership types. We chartered our little club in the August of 2016 with just 26 members, a short 5 months after that core group of us walked out. We held intentional conversations about the new club because of what we had been through. Now, we could have blamed so much of the failure of that old club on a single person or a small group of people, their bad behavior, their controlling, demeaning ways. We could do that, but what was wrong with the system of our former club that allowed the behavior of a few to pollute the entire organization? What was wrong with the culture of that club? Now, that's where we chose to learn. We intentionally created a club that would be absent a traditional hierarchy. We have absolutely 0 rules about attendance. We focused less on someone's ability to write a check and more on their character. We committed to at least 2 service opportunities for our members every single month. We have no rules that require members to participate, no fines. There is no audience to be found for remarks about who is working the hardest and who participates the most. If we see a trend of members disengaging, that's not a them problem. It's an us problem. If a member hasn't been around in a while, we're asking what's going on in their lives and if there's some way we can support them. We let them know that Rotary is going to be here when things settle down. And we don't engage in petty exchanges about which Rotary Club is the best and which service organization is the best. There's enough work for us all to exist. There is no need to compete. In fact, we are each stronger when our colleagues in service are strong too. We all have a part to play. I served as our club's 2nd president. As I began in July of 2017, I stood before 43 members. And as president, I would have the honor of inducting 27 members. And today, we are more than 80 strong. And we still meet in the little back room of that coffee shop. In Rotary, but I think we're pretty good at getting people in the door. So while that growth curve is impressive, it's not what I'm most proud of. It's this. During the year that I served as club president, 100% of our membership was engaged in service. I was and am most proud of that fact. I personally and individually met with every single member of the club, and when I asked them why they joined Rotary and why they remained involved, it was all the same: service. They wanted to serve the community, the world. We participated in over 40 service projects, many of them uniquely planned by members. Now, that's a lot to manage, and it can feel overwhelming, but that's what it takes to lead 70 or more people to Rotary Happy. And an interesting thing happens when you focus on engagement through service rather than enforcing or coercing participation. Everything else just falls into place. Meeting attendance is consistent. Financial support grows because members see the connection between service and the Rotary Foundation. I was Rotary happy every time I walked into a club meeting, at every project, at every training, at every social gathering. I'd gotten it back. Oftentimes, our club is thought to be wildly different. We're not. We continue many of the same traditions that we've come to depend on in Rotary over the past 100 years. We recite the four-way test. We meet every week. We charge for membership. What's different are the expectations. Those expectations like attendance, unwritten rules, standards of who does more and who does less. And while those expectations might hold some value, they're not the things that make great Rotary clubs. Engaged members who know they matter and know that they can make a difference are the key to truly great clubs. We've got to build that feeling, and that feeling is Rotary Happy. As leaders, you can cultivate Rotary Happy by leading with compassion, by eliminating interclub competition to make way for collaboration, by recognizing engagement and service to the same degree you celebrate achievements and giving, and by embracing change. We have a new action plan that calls on us to increase our ability to adapt and enhance participant engagement. Take it seriously and listen carefully to what President-elect Holger says about treating each other, especially new members, with care. It can make all the difference between happy, engaged Rotarians and ex-Rotarians with a harsh, damaging story to tell about us. I'm Rotary happy today to be here with all of you, and I invite each of you to think about your own Rotary happy. What does it look like for you? How can you build it in your own district, in your own club? Be intentional with the way you lead, and the rest will happen. And who knows, you just might inspire others to do the same. Thank you.